Question from the commenters. This is a short one.
Oh shit.
Oh god, there's commenters? That's why you guys are laughing.
Boxers or briefs?
Oh, always briefs.
What color?
Right now, black.
Oh my god.
No, that is not necessary.
Oh, you don't need to pull them out.
I just wanted to check the color. Wait, which is boxers and which is briefs?
Oh, shit.
Briefs are the shorts.
Thank
no,
you.
boxers are the shorts.
Is your junk snug up?
The ones that are like, yeah, there you go. So boxers blue with kind of a tartan effect. One should realize that a blog comment does not represent an official position of anyone. And
Not even yourself?
Frequently.
Will, are you pro or con the downtown tunnel?
Oh, definitely con.
Okay, thank you. And Michael?
Pro.
To 100 people, depending upon the issues that we're presenting at that point and the time of year.
Do you think that's an accurate assessment? Michael?
I'm sorry.
You've said the White House Chief of Staff follows your Twitter feed.
I've never said that.
Fnarf believes you have, and that you
I've said people in the cabinet.
Oh, people in the cabinet follow
That's
your...
a much larger group.
Michael, I want to give you a chance to respond to the charge that you are simply out of step politically with your own executive board.
No, I believe
I did not say that.
With the
membership.
With the membership.
I'm sorry.
The endorsed position is the membership.
I'll restate it. Michael, Will is saying that you are simply too out of step with the membership of the 43rd to represent them to the King County Democratic Central Committee.
Yes.
That's a point of view, I suppose. I mean, realistically, you know, is it true that in 2009 I supported Joe Malnahan? Of course it's true.
So, but the question is, just to put a fine point on it and get the answer so we can move on, do you agree with you know, his criticism? The way he put it in a quote to me was that he doesn't really know what you've been doing except commenting on Slog. Do you agree with that? Do you think that...
I disagree with that. One of the things I've done is show up at stuff like the UW Light Rail forums where I got them to switch from walking across the street in traffic for students.
And you were responsible for that change?
I pushed that. I
plans?
spoke up at the hearings for actually putting back in the bridge because I don't think people should die.
But you were just saying that you were responsible for the bridge being put back in.
I was the first person to speak on that at the meeting.
I want to turn to foreign policy for a moment. Will, Fnarf has said, and you know Fnarf, he follows your work very closely.
He tries to.
Do you feel that he does a good job of following it?
He does as good a job as anyone limited by the internet and the falsehoods which frequently are on the internet could do.
Well, in terms of your foreign policy platform, Fnarf says that Will in Seattle has repeatedly called for the U.S. to, quote, nuke Saudi Arabia.
The question is, who are we at war with? We have two wars, Iraq. We have Afghanistan. The official reason for currently being in those countries and wasting all this money in the military. I'm not saying not on the soldiers. I always support the soldiers, having actually been in an army.
Which army were you in?
Canadian Armed Forces, I was a sergeant. 7 years. I made sergeant in 5.
So why have you called for the nuking of Saudi Arabia?
Oh, well, my point is to drive the discussion away from, oh, the Taliban.
So can we go back to the issue of sound bites for a moment? Because Will in Seattle says that he's really great at creating these sound bites, and that's what stirs up the base and gets people talking. And do you think he's effective in this? And if not, like, what's your plan for, you know, you want to drive more voters. What's your strategy there?
I believe in driving more voters. Getting people up to the polls is a matter of knocking on doors. It's a matter of making phone calls.
You're out there and you're knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Are you out there knocking on doors?
I'm knocking on doors. I don't phone because phone has one of the lowest returns. But I do find that sound bites have worked in, for example, we got one of the 2 candidates for King County Executive to show up at the 43rd District barbecue because I basically goaded her into showing up in the media.
Where and how? What was the soundbite quickly?
Which
Oh, it
candidate?
was multiple. A certain blonde, yes, Susan.
Oh.
I literally would go in every place that I knew her campaign staff would be looking at, and I made it sound like she was too cowardly. And she said she was nonpartisan, so I said, oh, well, if you're nonpartisan, why aren't you showing up at, and I gave the example,
Which
the
Susan are we
43rd
talking about?
Hutchinson,
Okay.
the 43rd District Democrats barbecue. And what happened? We got her to show up, which gave us what? Media attention, which literally gave the Seattle Times, Seattle PI, and I believe The Stranger also covered it, as well as The Weekly and other people covered the fact that she did that. So it became a talking point, and it pointed out that she in fact wasn't pro-choice, that she wasn't pro-labor. It gave us all these additional talking points to describe her. Before that, we were having a hard time pinning her to the wall, a hard time describing why we shouldn't vote for her.
So you were
In
the
the
man
media.
behind that. You were the man behind the downfall.
Whenever I do something, I'm not the only person. I instigate it, and I try to get other people to do the same.
Now you're.
That's my job.
But you're. Sure.
Can I just interject for a second? That barbecue he's talking about, I actually planned as the vice chair for events. And,
Which is a great job planning.
I had called Susan's campaign and said, hey, you're nonpartisan. Will you come? They said, sure.
Okay, 2 very different accounts of a
two
great
very
barbecue.
different accounts of the event. So you really, but Michael, you really believe that it was your phone call to Susan Hutchison rather than Will's blog comments that got her to come to the event?
Considering that the 43rd has a turnout thing and whatnot, we had a lot of other candidates there as well, including candidates we hadn't even that we'd endorsed their opponents for.
Correct.
It's just the way it is.
And Will, do you find that at all credible that his phone call brought Susan Hutchison to the event?
Everything helps.
Michael, there's a commenter who feels that you are opposed to the T in LGBT, and that you posted about
I
this
saw that.
before.
I read that.
And that you've made disparaging statements about the T in LGBT. Just like you to respond to that since you've read the comment.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever made disparaging comments about the transgender community, and I have plenty of transgendered friends. The comment that I'd made was in reference to the fact that transgender people are technically part of the DSM-4. It is a diagnosed thing which leads to the ultimate sex change operation, the gender reassignment surgery.
So do you feel that they should not be part of the LGBT community?
I do not believe that they should not be part of the LGBT community, and that was more of a in-joke comment than anything else.
Do you think that transgender people are mentally ill? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Because the DSM-4 is
the DSM-4 is
the Bible
diagnosis,
of mental illness
Of mental-
diagnosis
yes.
criteria.
But to be a transgendered, it is diagnosed per the DSM-4.
How do your transgendered friends feel about that comment? All of them that you were just mentioning.
All of them?
You
Each
said
and
I
every
have
one of
plenty.
them.
Well, yeah. I mean, you said you had
Well,
plenty of transgendered friends. How did they react?
I mean,
to
'cause
that comment?
I've spoken with my friend Tara before about this, and she, she understands, my point of view on it. That it's difficult to really explain this now. I feel like I'm on the spot. It's not I'm not anti-transgendered in any way, shape, or form, and I do believe that if there's any community that all people belong in, it is the LGBT community. We are an all-encompassing group.